Welcome brothers and sisters, my name is Eros, I am the tool maker, and in this video we will talk about a more intermediate approach to the celebration of Imbolc, this festivity. If you are here, I do presume you've already watched the basics on how to celebrate Imbolc, and we will keep on where we left, keeping on with Bridget, the goddess of the Holy Forge. Now, Bridget, in my personal experience, she's all about generating or reforging. So a transformation or a new life through fire. Perfect for this festivity. The new fire comes from passion, from desire, and from creativity. Now, the goddess with the fiery hair is exalted on the mutation of the self and the act of transformation of surrounding reality according to the one true will. Bridget is best venerated in the act of crafting something. Considering what to craft, please do not underestimate your writing skills, the act of writing, which is a noble art, an ancient one. Traditionally, in our approach, we tend to build Bridget crosses. Now, please do take some time to Google how to build a Bridget cross, how it is made. I do not have any hay at hand. The Bridget cross is a solar symbol, not casually of course, usually made of hay or, in our tradition, sometimes long grass left to dry. I even seen from some of my students some crosses made of paper, or even better, some crosses made of drawn on paper, and usually with petitions. So consider this approach. Or another thing we usually do is the construction of a Bridget doll. A Bridget doll is also made of hay, or in our tradition long grass left to dry, or made out of long grass and then left to dry. Sometimes in our tradition it's called a bambola sposa, or a bride doll. I guess it's also present in some northern traditions. Let me know in case. The bride doll is basically a reference to the dominance of Bridget in fertility. Of course, done with the same materials. Another things we sometimes do is the construction of a Bridget bed. Now, the Bridget bed is a large container, usually a box or a crate, so a wooden box, made comfortable with fabrics, usually cotton or linen, and in this container we do put the Bridget doll, if you prepared it. Now, please do consider that this is an altar done in honor to Bridget. So it's either you want to give offerings to Bridget, a special one, or you are starting a path walking with Bridget. And even if I do recommend a path walking with Bridget, please do try to know what you are asking for, because it's gonna happen. Now, it is my personal opinion that this construction of the Bridget bed is taken by Christianity in a syncretic way to recreate and define the nativity scenes, what we call presepe, but this is my opinion, so feel free to take it and throw it away. This is my personal view on the point. Now, I've read that in Northern Europe, the Kailag is, which is another amazing goddess, is put in opposition to Brigid, as the myth about the Kailag is that she gathers woods, pardon me, please do remember English is not my first language, that the Kailag gathers wood to keep the bonfire going, to preserve winter much longer, to keep winter going, but that she only does this in the sunny days. Now, actually, in the Italian tradition, there are many way of sayings that if the first, the second, in this case of February, but the first days of February are sunny, then the winter will keep going longer. My personal opinion, again, is that these opposition between the Kailag and Brigid, or Saint Brigid, is a natural reaction to the nature engraved within Brigid herself, since she is in a sense definition of the Holy Feminine. She's inside a threefold goddess. In my personal gnosis, she is a poet in the virgin aspect of the Holy Feminine, related to inspiration. She is a smith, a blacksmith, as the mother, so related to crafting through and with experience, and she is a healer as the crone, since the healer holds the power to preserve or destroy life through wisdom. Now, through this analysis of the goddess who holds the emma and the cup, forgive me, I'm really fond of it, we more deeply understand the essence of Imbolc. Other things we can do are lighting a bonfire for our congregation, for our covenant, for our family, for our order. It depends on your tradition. Now, I usually put the lighting of fires in the more intermediate level, since they can go and will go, if left unattended, full Vietnam on you. Not that it has happened to me in the past, but maybe to some of your friends, so please do be careful. Now, another thing we can do is flower work. Guys, please don't skip. Flower work is not only about preparing flower crowns. Of course, preparing flower crowns is a thing that needs to be done after I've learned all of the flower correspondences. Please do refer to an herbalist in this case. The flower work is also about flower gifts. Flower gifts need to be blessed with intention. Flower offerings to the goddesses, to the gods, to the angels, to the saints, even to your ancestors in our tradition. But I guess you also do have ancestors, otherwise you will not be here. Now, it's also an amazing time to gather or use flower ingredients, especially collecting the first flowers that blooms on spring. It's an amazing practice. Or to do flower spells. Now, I haven't found much in the grimoires about flower spells aside from what I learned verbally from my teachers and the amazing witches of my tradition. Now, if you want to know more, please let me know. I will prepare something about flower spells. Also, another thing we do is physically and or figuratively plant seeds or bulbs, of course, with intent and visualization. Basically, you work with them just like petitions. Harmonizing yourself and your intent with the new life growing from the earth in this season, blooming in spring. Another thing we do in our tradition is an offering to the birds. Traditionally, is a carved fruit or vegetable, more often than not fruit, filled with seeds and some sort of fat. Traditionally, we do use lard. If you're not into that, you can clearly, of course, use coconut oil, perfectly fine. And we hang or stick these fruits filled with seeds, lard, or any kind of fat to trees. Usually hang, you can stick them, it's not gonna hurt the tree in any way, so feel free to do that. This is some sort of welcoming of the birds, so the elements of air and communication, when they are flying back toward our land. Another thing we sometimes do, at least in Italian traditions, is walking or stepping over the broom. In our tradition, the broom is more often than not substituted or equivalent to the staff of the wanderer, the staff of the traveler. These implements are correspondent to astral flight, astral projection. It depends on how you call this practice. We don't really practice this kind of passage necessarily in the season. We tend in the Silver Iris to practice this kind of passage ritual when the disciple is ready for his new responsibilities and discipline. So depending on the personal self, the single student. Also, I've heard that sometimes in the season, mainly in some northern tradition, acorn wands are prepared. Now, I'm not against the preparation of specialized ones, but neither I am in favor of the usage of hyper specialized ones, because I believe more in the construction, production, and usage of personal, generic ones, generic in intending that you may use them for anything, intending that I like a more companion friendly, sanctified personal bond, just like my delirium over here. But I'm not against the construction of specialized ones. I tend to use acorns for the decoration of the altar, for the decoration of the home. They are perfectly fine for that. Now, talking the practice of divination. You may want to practice divination in this festivity in one of two ways. Of course, use divination as usual if you need it, but please do try to practice divination as a year-long practice between festivities. So I mean, you will start now in Imbolc and cast a divination toward the end of the year, so the last festivity of the year, which will be Yule. Or you may want to use divination in between festivities to have a more specific picture of what is going to come, what is going to happen. Now, in this case, the divination will be between Imbolc and Ostara, which will be the next festivity. Also, in our tradition, you may want to prepare and bless the candles for candle magic. You will need, and you know you will need to use during the year. This in Christianity is sometimes called candelora. Even more traditionally, sometimes in some regions we do the blessing of the fabrics. This is of course presuming you do use fabrics, either linen, cotton, wool, in your magical practice. This is also an amazing time for the preparation of the oils or incenses. Please do not improvise the preparation of oil or incenses if you're not confident into it. Follow the video which are coming along. We will clearly teach you. Please do not improvise. Now, an outstanding thing to do in this period is kitchen magic. From what I've learned, even from some of my students, the preparation of tea in many traditions, even in our tradition, is prevalent. The original practice in our tradition, the Tuscanian tradition in kitchen magic, is to prepare soups, so to feed the family, to feed your family. And it's either, if you're preparing tea or soup, steering your intent and magical will into the preparation, fundamentally. Now, kitchen magic is much more complex, but we will get into more complex details later. You can even prepare a kitchen altar in case you practice kitchen magic, in case you want a kitchen altar, in case you want to sanctify it even to the goddess who holds the cup of healing, Bridget. Since Bridget is also a goddess of the cauldron. In this sense, please do remember that Imbolc in its original translation may mean in the womb, but also the act of the usage of milk. Probably since winter is just finished and families need to use milk as a last resort to survive. So it's a kind of healing which will get better in the spring if we do work now. Of course, as always, you can also have a feast with your covenant or congregation or whatever. But if you're on a more intermediate level, you may want to prepare and hold a feast, at least in accordance to your tradition, or at least in accordance to your brothers and sisters of the covenants. Now, please do keep in mind, if you want to practice a more advanced purification since the season and in this festivity, do start with a deep cleaning, then proceed with saging or fumigation, but I guess sage is also used in Northern tradition, let me know in case. Then the blessing of the water. Of course, you may want to use blessed water, but we mainly bless floral waters in this season and in this festivity. On a side note, in our tradition, we also do try to awaken nature. This practice is usually done with the percussion of drums and stomping in the ground, in the fields, in the forest. This is mainly men, but not only men, because we also do celebrate the beauty of the feminine in the act of dancing, mainly for women, of course, not only women. This is just tradition, the time is changing, I do understand. But that's how it has been done in the last few centuries. Also, blessing of the livestock, which will also mean, in some cases, blessing of your pets, in case you got them. And I've heard from a sister of a more northern tradition, Galdr is often practiced in this season for blessing and purification, but of course you need to deeply understand the runes to practice something like that. We will talk about runes later. Now, considering the spell work you may want to practice, please do keep in mind the keywords are fertility, prosperity, abundance, success, romance. Either if you want to bring them to you or to recover them. Now, it has been amazing to spend this time with you. Thank you very much for your kind attention. In case you want to go on a more advanced level, I'll wait for you on the next video on the same channel. Also should be available now. In any other circumstance, we will catch up on the next video, and as always, may eternal light shine